What up, guys? GangstaPranksta here, bringing you another weekly wrestling in review for the week of July 23rd, I think. And today we got an action-packed review. I'm going to review Money in the Bank, RAW, Smackdown, Impact, and give some news. So let's just start this off. First, we have Money in the Bank. This was a really good pay-per-view. From top to bottom, there was one match that was okay at best, but everything else was good to great. And let's just go through it right now. First, we have the Smackdown Money in the Bank. Daniel Bryan, Sheamus, Sin Cara, Cody Rhodes, Justin Gabriel, Heath Slater, Wade Barrett, and Kane. This was a really good match. Starts off the show really hot. Daniel Bryan wins, and that was really cool to see. I wasn't really expecting him. I mean, I wanted him to win, but I really didn't expect him to win, so it was cool that he won. And I'll get further. I'm going to talk about this further later in the show when I break some news about why he might have been pushed. So I'll talk about that later. But cool to see. Let's just talk about some crazy spots. Some cool spots were Sin Cara getting powerbombed through a ladder by Sheamus. That was pretty crazy to see. And if you don't know, Sin Cara has been suspended for 30 days because he failed a wellness policy test. And this was WWE's way of kind of taking him out of the match for him getting suspended, kind of write him off TV for being injured and stuff. So that's a shame that he failed about it. We'll talk about more later in the program. Kane chokeslamming Sheamus off a ladder onto another ladder. That was pretty cool. Wade Barrett gave Justin Gabriel a wasteland over the top rope, and I think he landed on Heath Slater. I thought that was pretty cool. So that's about it. Next we have Kelly versus Brie Bella. Pretty good for a Divas match. Kelly wins and she retains. Next is Big Show versus Mark Henry. This was a really good big man match. Mark Henry worked over the leg, and that was cool to see. And yeah, this was just a good big man match. Not technical wise, like fucking Chris Benoit, Kurt Angle kind of thing, but this was good for a big man match. And Mark Henry wins after the match. He wraps up a chair around Big Show's ankle, and then does a splash off the top ropes onto the chair. Next, we have the Raw Money in the Bank. Miz, Evan Bourne, R-Truth, Rey Mysterio, Alberto Del Rio, Alex Riley, Jack Swagger, Kofi Kingston. This was a really good match. My opinion, this was the better Money in the Bank match. And we'll just go through it. It was a really good match. Alberto Del Rio wins. And let's just go through some really cool spots that happened during the match. It started out, everyone had a ladder. Like, all 8 of them had a ladder. I thought that was pretty cool to start it out, and they all beat the shit out of Del Rio with it. Evan Bourne did a shooting star press off a ladder onto a bunch of people. That was cool. The Miz, he was taken out, like, in the beginning of the match. They made it seem like he hurt his knee. I don't know if he really hurt his knee or he, in quotations, hurt his knee. And but halfway during the match, he came back. At one point, you had all 7 guys on ladders going for the briefcase. That was kind of cool. Everyone was down, then Miz came back out, almost won, but Mysterio grabbed him, and the fans booed Mysterio. They hated him in Chicago. I think it's because the Miz, when he came out, because the doctors came out after he injured his knee, and then when he came out, he got a huge pop from the crowd, and then Rey Mysterio stopped it, and then he got booed, so it was kind of like, it was weird. What else? Okay, so Mysterio took down Miz, and then Mysterio was going for the briefcase. Then Del Rio pulls off Rey's mask, shoves him off into another ladder. They kind of fucked up the finish because Rey went onto another ladder and then kind of fell back into Del Rio's ladder, so everyone fell down. And then Del Rio had to set up the ladder again and get the briefcase and win the match. This was kind of predictable that Del Rio was going to win, but whatever. Next, we have Randy Orton versus Christian. Really good match. Whenever you have these two, they have a really good match. They have good chemistry together. That's good to see. Christian wins after he spits in Orton's face, and that pisses him off. And he, of all things, he low blows Christian. Really? I would think it was like with a chair or something, like punt Christian with a chair or some kind of shit like that. RKO him on a chair. But no, he just kicks him in the dick. I was just like, what the fuck? That looks so stupid. Like, Orton just looked like a dumbass for kicking Christian in the nuts. But whatever, Christian's a new world champ. I'm fine with that, That's cool as shit to see. How long he'll be champ, I have no idea. Did he make it past SmackDown? We'll talk about that later. After the match, Orton attacks Christian and gives him 2 RKOs on an announcer table. Next, we have John Cena versus CM Punk. This was a great match. They went like 30 minutes. And the announcers really they went 30 minutes. They really pushed that fact. Like, this was the first time in forever, a world title match went 30 minutes. Well, you built up the angle, you better deliver. And they did. CM Punk wins after Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis come out. Cena has Punk in an STFU. Vince tells John Laurinaitis to ring the bell for a screw job finish. Laurinaitis starts running out, only to be taken out by Cena, and he did get taken out by Cena. He did have a black eye, which was funny. Cena tells Vince he doesn't want to win like that. Cena goes back in the ring. Punk hits him with the go to sleep to become the new WWE champion. The crowd explodes in excitement. Vince grabs Lawler's headset and tells people to send Del Rio out. Del Rio comes up to cash in his briefcase, but Punk just kicks him in the head. Technically, Del Rio didn't use his briefcase because the bell was never rung, and so he still has it. And Punk just runs through the crowd with the title. Overall, really good pay-per-view. 2 good pay-per-views in the same month. That's awesome. That's good to see. The wrestling business is doing really well so far. Next, we have Raw. It starts out with Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis. They come out, and Vince says even though Punk won the title, the show must go on. They will have a tournament to determine the new WWE champion. He says Cena let him down, and he will pay. First match, we have Alex Riley versus The Miz. Pretty good match. Miz wins and continues on in the tournament. R-Truth versus Jack Swagger. Pretty good match. R-Truth wins and continues. Alberto Del Rio versus Kofi Kingston. Pretty good match. Kofi wins. Del Rio's ring announcer makes his return before the match. But Del Rio wins and continues on to the tournament. Rey Mysterio versus Dolph Ziggler. Good match. Mysterio wins. He continues. Then we have Kelly Kelly, Gail Kim, Caitlyn, AJ Lee, Beth Phoenix, Eve, and Natalia versus the Bellas, Melina, Alicia Fox, Rosa Mendez, Maurice, Tamina. Horrible match. Whenever they have this match, it's horrible. 30-second match. Beth Phoenix just beats the shit out of Rosa Mendez. That's it. Next, we have Miz versus Kofi Kingston. Semi-finals match. Pretty good match. Miz wins. He goes on to the finals. Then we have Rey Mysterio versus R-Truth. Semi-finals match as well. Really good match. Mysterio wins, and he moves on to the finals. So Mysterio stays out for his match against Miz, but Vince comes out and says he has something to say, so they're going to postpone the final match for next week. Vince says he's a businessman and sometimes you have to make hard decisions. He calls out John Cena. Cena comes out. He talks about something. They were talking about something. The only part that caught my attention was, Cena was like, "I'll show up on some other channel, brother." It's like, really? You would not do that with fucking Vince, because Vince, it makes you a billionaire. But Triple H comes out and says there was a board meeting this morning, and the board decided to fire Vince McMahon and hire Triple H in his place. John Cena is rehired. Oh, I didn't see that one fucking coming. Like, they were going to ever fire Cena. Such a stupid stipulation when they do that. John Cena fires Vince. Vince starts to cry. Triple H tells Vince he loves him, and the crowd chants, "Thank you, Vince." This was actually cool to see, just like Vince was such a hated man from the beginning, from like kicking out Ray because he's like, I gotta say something. And then at the end of this, it's just like the fans love him, the change on the flip of a dime. So he has the fans in his palm whenever he's out there. Okay, next we got TNA Impact. First, Sting comes out and rambles about Immortal. He then calls out Bischoff and Hogan, but Angle comes out and Kurt says he helped Sting last week and he will beat Sting at Hardcore Justice. Bully Ray and Mr. Anderson come out, say they're going to have a tag team match tonight. So Sting and Angle better learn to cooperate. Next, we have RVD versus Scott Steiner. This was actually a good match, and RVD wins. Next, we have Mickie James. She comes out, calls out Velvet. She comes out, and she says she has to tell her something. Mickie says Velvet's been through a lot, and she's earned the title shot. Mickie says they're going to have a good match tonight, and Velvet better bring her A game. Sorry about that. Winter and Angelina Love come out, and Angelina says all the knockouts are jealous of her, and Winter is going to win the title at Hardcore Justice. Next, we have Sarita and Rosita versus Tara and Miss Tessmacher. This was okay. Tara and Miss Tessmacher win and are the new TNA Knockouts Tag Team Champs. I've said this in a previous weekly Wrestling in Review. This title is defended once every 3 months. I don't know how Tara and Miss Tessmacher won because they've never teamed together before, but they were able to overcome the females of Mexican America. Whatever. Next we have Gunner versus Matt Morgan versus Samoa Joe versus AJ Styles in the ladder match. If you're not watching it already, it's one of the matches in this week's episode. It was a good match. Matt Morgan wins. And one question I have, was this TNA's answer to WWE's Money in the Bank? I mean, this was a good match and all, but I don't think it could really compare to Money in the Bank, where they have 30 minutes apiece for a match. And I think this one on TV had about 8 or 9. So, sorry, TNA. Stop trying to, mimic WWE. You can't do it. Every time you do it, just makes your shit look cheesy. Next, we have Alex Shelley versus Brian Kendrick. Pretty good match. Kendrick wins after Austin Aries cost Shelley the match. Next, we have Mexican America come out and complain about Sarita and Rosita being screwed. They call out Beer Money. Beer Money comes out and tells Mexican America to shut up. They talk shit back to each other for like 5 minutes, and basically it's just to set up a match at Hardcore Justice between Mexican America and Beer Money. Next, we have Mickie James versus Velvet Sky. Match never got started because Angelina and Winter attack Mickie. Velvet makes a save, but then ODB and Jackie Moore come out, attack Velvet, and Tracy Brooks makes her return, and brawl ensues. They brawl for about 5 minutes. ODB and Jackie Moore attack some security guards, and then more security guards come out and arrest them. Last but not least, we have Bully Ray and Mr. Anderson versus Kurt Angle and Sting. Pretty good. Sting and Angle win. So Impact was pretty good. And next we have Smackdown. Smackdown was actually pretty short this week because they were talking about the Vince McMahon thing on Raw the whole time. So it's going to be a brief rundown. First, we have Orton sitting in the middle of the ring, talks about things changing in WWE. Christian comes out. Orton says they have unfinished business. They go back and forth a little bit more. Orton wants a rematch tonight, and Christian says he has to earn a title shot. Orton goes after Christian, but Teddy Long comes out and says Orton can't have a rematch tonight because he already has a match with Kane tonight. Orton jumps Christian, but the refs grab Orton. Teddy says if Orton has a match tonight, then Christian has a match tonight. So it's Christian and Ezekiel Jackson. This was a pretty good match, and Christian wins. Next, we have Michael Cole is in the ring to do an interview with Daniel Bryan. Cole says Daniel Bryan won by fluke. Daniel Bryan says he doesn't care what Michael Cole thinks. and he's earned everything he's got, and he's gonna cash in his money in the briefcase at WrestleMania. I found that very interesting. We'll see if it's true. I don't believe so, but we will see. Next, Heath Slater comes out and challenges Daniel Bryan to a match. So Daniel Bryan and Heath Slater have a match. It was a good match, and Daniel Bryan wins. Next, we have Sheamus versus Wade Barrett. Pretty good match. Match ended in a countout because they brawled outside. And last but not least, Kane versus Randy Orton in a street fight. This was a really good match. Orton wins. After the match, Mark Henry attacks Kane and takes him out like Henry took out Big Show at Money in the Bank. Overall, SmackDown didn't really have a lot on it. Basically, it was a Raw rebound the whole time. A lot of backstage segments and stuff. That's fine. So let's just cover the news real quick. First, we have Kane and Big Show are getting some time off. Recently, they've been written out in injury angles. You know, Big Show getting injured at Money in the Bank, and Kane getting injured on SmackDown. And with WWE losing so many stars, CM Punk, Chris Jericho, Kane, Big Show, Undertaker. Did I say Jericho? I'll say him again. They have to build up new stars, and I think them, like Kane and Big Show, getting a break, and Daniel Bryan winning at Money in the Bank. They're trying to bring up new guys to take over the company when these guys have to retire and they can't perform anymore. So WWE's in a transition period where they're gonna push more younger guys to the top, and kind of let the top guys, the established guys, kind of let the younger, unestablished guys establish themselves. Next, we have Dana White and Vince McMahon have a meeting. Is this for a possible crossover between UFC and Vince McMahon? It's not. They had a meeting, and basically Dana White looks up to Vince McMahon as like the guy that created pay-per-views, and the guy that created his biggest star in Brock Lesnar. So it's cool that Dana White respects Vince McMahon. That's cool to see. But so far, no cross-promotion, and it would be kind of dumb. Next, we have a video of CM Punk at Comic-Con. If you want to see this video, I'm going to link it in the description. Basically, he walks in on a WWE Comic-Con panel, and Triple H is there and a couple other people, and, you know, Punk just says so much shit. He's like, why is Zack Ryder not on TV? And, it's just funny. But it ends with Triple H saying, you know, Punk, I'm taking over WWE. It's going to be a new reign. You should maybe come back. And Punk's just like, Stephanie has my number. You should ask her for it. And it kind of implies that they had something going on, like an affair. Far from it, probably, but it was just funny to hear. You guys should go check out the video. Link in the description. Last but not least, we have Sin Cara being suspended for failing a wellness policy. This sucks to hear because Sin Cara's been having a pretty big push on SmackDown and Raw. You know, when he was debuting, there was a lot of promo packages. And the same shit kind of happened to Karma. You know, she came in, she did maybe a month. She was getting a really big push in the Divas division, and then she got pregnant, and then she had to pretty much go away for a long time. 9 months, well, probably a year. But the same thing happened to Sin Cara, and if you look at past history of people who fail wellness policies and come back, they lose matches like a motherfucker. They're forgotten about, and yeah, this could have screwed him for life. Screwed and tattooed. But there have been recently something about what's it called? The copyright. Something about copyright on Sin Cara's name. WWE didn't copyright it or something, and some other company has it. So they're thinking about just taking Sin Cara off TV altogether. They're saying that, you know, he hasn't been as impressive as they thought he was going to be. And that's because he wrestles the Mexican style luchador, you know, high flying, and you need someone to kind of like not counteract, but like someone that can show his pros instead of his cons, because all the other wrestlers know the WWE style, which is basically slow down the match a lot, where Sin Cara wrestles the let's have a really fast-paced match, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, jump, 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 shit like that. So the thing about getting rid of him, that sucks for him, you know. Yeah. So we might not ever see Sin Cara again. And then he did an interview, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I get injections for my knee, and you know, there's no steroids in it, and the company knows about it, so I don't know why I failed a drug test." And WWE's pissed at him because he admitted to being injected with something, which is fucking retarded on his part. But yeah, so we might not ever see Sin Cara again. I hope he cherished the time that he's spent in WWE. If he comes back, he might be under a whole different name, moniker, mask, everything. So we might not see Sin Cara, but we might see him as somebody else. And yeah, that's about it. So this is about it for this week, guys. If you guys like this week, leave a comment. I don't know what you can really comment about, but did you like Money in the Bank? What did you think of Raw? The whole Vince McMahon thing. What else? What do you think of Sin Cara being suspended? That's about it. Next week's match, I have planned a WWE versus TNA Battle Royale. I'm going to take 15 guys from WWE, 15 guys from TNA, and hopefully that'll last for about 20 minutes so I can talk over it. So that'll be the match for next week, but I'm always looking for match suggestions. The CM Punk, the Kurt Angle CM Punk at the beginning of this was suggested by a fan of the show. So that's cool to see. If you guys have any suggestions for the show, leave them in the comments. I'll read them all. I'll reply to most. And yeah, that's about it. But this is the weekly wrestling review for July 23rd. Hopefully YouTube does not screw me when I try and upload this. Other than that, guys, this is GangstaPranksta. I'll see you guys next week, where I review Raw, Smackdown, Impact. Yeah, no pay-per-views next week, so it's going to be a short show. Anyways, guys, I'm out. Peace out.
Does he have it? He did it! The match is over. That's all she wrote. Here's your